Emotion. To understand the concept of emotion, we first need to differentiate between the motivational tendencies of emotion and the social communication tendencies of the facial and body expressions of emotion, because these domains have differing functions depending on the emotion. This is not to say that the facial expression of emotion arises only in a relational context, as these expressions were selected for their evolutionary adaptive value over the history of our species, not just one individual. The motivational tendencies have adaptive value for gearing our behavior for the regulation of our organism. The facial and body expression of emotion has adaptive value for communicating to another what our needs are or how to relate to us in a social context. The facial and body expression of emotion can be inhibited, but this depends on the context of the situation. Microexpressions can also indicate emotion and demonstrates the fast processing system at work in eliciting emotional expression. Both the motivational tendencies and the facial and body expression of emotion are triggered by a combination of fast and unconscious automatic sensory perceptions of the environment, which also filters through implicit memories from personal lived experiences. We do not need to be conscious of the emotion for our thoughts, behavior, and physiology to be influenced by emotion. The automatic perceptions resulting in evolutionary adaptive motivational tendencies are based on biological values encoded in the brain throughout evolution. All mammals share these biological values and are represented as circuits within our brain that relate to seeking out that which is life sustaining, anger, fear, lust, nurturance, sadness, and play or joy. All of these have had evolutionary adaptive value for mammals, including humans. What we consciously feel might not necessarily be the emotions reflected in these circuits, as one's feelings are often a combination of emotion and sensations and cognitions. For example, someone might say, I feel obligated, or I feel hopeful, or I feel like you hate me. This is not to say that we cannot experience core emotions consciously, but people use the term feel for many mental experiences, not just emotion, because our mental experiences have a predominant feeling quality to them because our perceptions are grounded in sensory, spatial, motor, and somatic lived experience. To clarify this further, the term feel is often used because the bulk of how we experience the world is non-conscious through the senses, body, and movement, which are only then potentially translated into conscious experience afterward. Depending on the cognitive resources, cognitive biases, and defense mechanisms that allow, distort, or prevent our experience of emotion. Because unconscious, dynamic, and action-oriented types of experiences are the main source of our lived experiences, our mental experiences reflect these experiential processes in our conscious mind. There are primary, secondary, and instrumental emotions. Primary emotion is the direct emotional impact of a stimulus. Secondary emotions form to protect the organism from the fear of experiencing the situational reality that corresponds to the primary emotion, or to help meet the need of the primary emotion. Primary emotions can be secondary emotions for other primary emotions too, because it might be maladaptive, or it may be maladaptive for the context. You might wonder how it is that such a natural phenomena as primary emotion can be maladaptive. This is where it's important to understand that the emotion that is elicited in a given context can already be sensitized and formed as an adaptive reflex to past situations. which then became habits or were sensitized to features similar to the original context. Even though emotion can be adaptive if one's implicit perceptions are interpreting reality accurately, implicit memories can influence the emotion that is elicited, making the emotion maladaptive. For example, someone might feel angry, secondary emotion, because they feel sad, primary emotion, and because they feel too vulnerable, they experience anger. They experience anger because of the implicit expectation from bias, implicit memory, or even current evidence that their need will not be met. Instrumental emotions come into play when one consciously or semi-consciously utilizes an emotional expression or behavior to elicit a response from another. The practical significance or importance of learning about emotion is threefold. First, so you can identify and differentiate the primary emotion from the secondary and instrumental emotions in order to use or shift the primary emotion to what is more adaptive and constructive for your long-term well-being and goals. A second reason to learn about emotion is to help with identifying implicit memories because experientially understanding one's emotions are precursors for understanding implicit memories, since emotion and implicit memory are inextricably connected. The third reason for the significance of learning about emotion is to assist with being able to better identify the emotions in self and others so that you can have more adaptive relational patterns by cultivating greater empathy and being more constructive. Implicit memories are the traces of the perceptions from situations which are highlighted in our brain as significant by emotion. Emotions are the motivational or communicative tendencies that are ideally adaptive for better navigating the various interactions with people, places, and things in the world. The problem is that implicit memories stick with us and distort our perception of what is happening in the present, and because of the tendency for our attention to be negatively biased and generalized features from past experience. This elicits emotion and the sensory, motor, emotional experience of the memory in the present as if the past were happening now, which distorts our perception of present reality.